Welcome back. In our first mini lecture, we talked about the need for agency, the desire to escape the outsourced mind, and the anxiety of the unlived life. In this second installment, we're going to talk about the tools of agency. We're going to unpack the specific elements that make up primed adventuring. It begins with what I call a qualifying disposition. This is the bedrock of agency. It's a deliberate psychological will to engage with the world, not as it is told to you, but as you must necessarily experience it. In traditional education, we are used to time-based pedagogy. We wait for the semester to end, for the bell to ring, for the degree to be awarded. Prime adventuring requires will-based technology. In this model, it's your agency that determines the rhythm of your growth. You do not wait for permission. You initiate the learning based on the friction of your own life. So what fuels this will? It's your calling or your daemon. Now I want to be clear, this isn't about a career path or a job title. As Carl Jung described it, this is the irrational factor that destines you to emancipate yourself from everyone else around you. It's the pursuit of evolving opportunities for satisfaction. What is it that would make you happy? I used to always say to my students, if you could just go off and do whatever you wanted to do, what would it be that you would most want to be doing? And that would get them somewhere close to their calling. We often confuse this calling with the unlived life, a fantasy of who we should be that breeds anxiety. Our goal here is to distinguish the noise of societal expectation from the signal of your innate character. So, if the will is the fuel, what is the engine? The engine is the specific cognitive mechanism, starting with the pause. Rollo May reminds us that human freedom lives in the pause between stimulus and response, as we discussed previously. In our modern world, we often lack this gap because everything happens at such a speed. We react automatically to emails, to stress, to social pressure. The pause is a defiant stillness. It breaks this automatic processing of information that is so common to what Keegan would call the socialized mind. It allows us to stop time binding, that destructive habit of projecting past regrets and future anxieties onto the present moment. In that pause, we perform the most critical movement in adult development, subject-object rebalancing. Let me give you a metaphor to explain this. Imagine you're wearing a pair of glasses with coloured lenses, but you don't know you're wearing them. Everything you see is coloured by those lenses. You are subject to them. They have you. The goal of this work is to get you to take those glasses off and then to look at those glasses. When you hold them in your hand, those glasses become object. You have them. Now you examine the tint, you critique it, you decide whether you want to put them back on. We do this with our anxieties, our hidden assumptions, and our ideologies. When we move from I am anxious to I have anxiety, you gain an internal seat of judgment necessary to navigate the world on your own terms. So, once we have the engine running, we need tools to navigate. In primed adventuring, we use mental models. These aren't just abstract theories, as cognitive scientists like Kenneth Craik and Jeff Hawkins tell us. The brain is a prediction machine. We build physical reference frames in our neocortex to stimulate and simulate reality. mental models are the software for these reference frames. We don't rely on just one. We build a completion complex, a lattice work of integrated models which we can categorize into three sort of buckets. First, we've got these enabling tools like developing a beginner's mind or anti-fragility, and these help us to stay open and grow stronger through disruption. Second, we have analytic tools like environmental reading and the rules of the game, and these help us to scan for threats and understand how selection works in a specific area. And third, we have community tools like convening and superstition, and these help us to bring people together and create our own race rather than competing in someone else's. When we combine these, we create what I've called the interject multiplier effect. That is, we can look between our internal map and the external world, and we can cast doubt on our own assumptions. And this triangulation is how we find the truth in any complex situation. Finally, it's really important to ask, where does this learning happen? Well, it does not happen in a classroom. In primed adventuring, the community is the teacher. Traditional education focuses on the general needs, what a curriculum designer thinks a future student might need. But we focus on your immediate needs, what you need to know right now to solve the problem that's in your actual life at this very minute. We engage with the community through value creation loops. This means we don't just think, we act. We enter the community to create value, maybe for ourselves, for others. If our mental models are wrong, the community pushes back. That pushback, that is a prediction error. It's gold. That's how we rewire your brain. It's how you know and how you can turn brittle knowledge, static facts, inert knowledge, into primary biological knowledge, the deep automated expertise that allows you to handle the unknown. So, to summarize, primed adventuring is an integrated whole. It's the psychological will to follow your calling, driving the cognitive engine of the pause and subject-object rebalancing. It uses a toolkit of mental models to navigate the arena of your community. Now that we understand these parts, how do we actually assemble them? In our final mini lecture, we will walk through this step-by-step of how you become a primed adventurer, moving from the very first pause to the realization of self-negotiated action. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next session.